Hey guys, welcome back to the No Community channel. This is going to be our Friday video. It's going to be a little bit different as usual. It's not going to just be deals of the week. This is going to be an informational video about a bunch of services that a lot of local libraries support that give you access to free movies for streaming, free audiobook download and streaming, some music downloads and eBooks, eMagazines, all that stuff. Some of the stuff you're already getting from your local library. Not all libraries support these services, but a lot of them do. And I've noticed that a lot of people don't know that their local library provides them with access to these kinds of services. So I decided to make a short video giving you a quick gist about each of the four services: Zinio, mainly for magazines; Freegal for music streaming and downloading; Overdrive for audiobooks and ebooks; and Hoopla, which is pretty much everything but only streaming. So let's first take a look with Freegal for music streaming. So, as I said before, Freegal is mainly for music streaming and music downloading. You get 3 hours of ad-free music streaming, depending on your library. My library provides me with 3 hours. And along with that, your library can either give you access to 5 MP3 downloads or two downloads, which will count towards a music video download if you're interested in downloading the music video. Their library consists of a lot of popular songs. Some of the songs that you're hearing on the radio today, they're not all hit songs, but there are a ton of them on there. A few names I may name off is Daft Punk, Christina Aguilera, a lot of John Williams music if you're a soundtrack fan. I think there was some Beyonce music. There are a bunch of major artists on here. So if you want to take a look, search for an artist, see if you're interested. Again, like I said, not all these services are supported by every library, so you have to make sure, click there, see if your library shows up on that list, or go towards your local library page to see if your library is listed there. So the way it works for music downloading is, let's say I'm interested in this Michael Jackson CD. If I want to just listen to the entire album, I can stream it as much as I want during the week, as long as I don't go over 3 hours. Obviously, I don't have to just stream one thing. I can stream everything they have there, but as long as it's under that 3-hour limit, you're fine. I've seen that sometimes the app and the phone app sometimes glitch. Sometimes you get more hours, sometimes you get less. That's not always a given. But depending on your library's payment, you get a certain amount of downloads as well. So for instance, my library provides me with 5 downloads every week, and that resets every Monday. So that means if I want to download this entire album, I can download it every week, 5 tracks at a time, until I get the entire thing. Then I can find something else I want to. The app also lets you set up streaming playlists, so if you want to select and queue up a bunch of songs, you can do that. Fair warning, the app is a bit outdated. They haven't updated it in a while, but for what it does and what you're getting for free, it works pretty well. So if you're interested in that, you can just search Freegal. You can go to your local library's website and see if they support Freegal, or ask your local library. Next up, we have Hoopla. Now, Hoopla is a really big site. It gives you a lot of content, but the catch is, other than movies, all the content they're providing, you have to be connected online to be using it. So they're giving you a bunch of audiobooks if you want to listen to them. There are a lot of child-friendly books on there. There is actually a rather large movie collection. It's not as great as Netflix, for instance, but it does have some good titles on there, some popular titles. Movies are the one thing that you can download to mobile devices for offline viewing. On the other hand, the music streaming, online only, no downloading, and they also have comic books, audiobooks, and some television series. Once again, all streaming. So this does have an app for iPad and a lot of Android devices. So if you want to download that, you can read the comic books on there. You can watch your movies on there. You can stream the music on there. You just have to use your app. So here are 3 examples. There's a Batman comic book which you can read that's available on the service. There's the Halo soundtrack if you want to listen to that. Again, they have a lot of other music as well. And that is the King's Speech playing there. Now, if you're using an iPad, you can even connect it to an Apple TV, so you can AirPlay it to the Apple TV so you can watch it on the big screen if that's what you want to do. Again, you can also stream it on your mobile devices and your computer as well. Next up, we have Overdrive, which is a personal favorite of mine because I love to read. They have a very large library of books and audiobooks available. Now, this is the service which is going to vary the most depending on your library and where you live. Certain libraries will have access to certain ebooks and audiobooks, whereas certain others will not. Again, the collection varies based upon your library. It's usually a group of libraries sharing a common e-library collection. So for instance, if my library has a Star Wars book, your library might not. If your library has Game of Thrones, mine might not have Game of Thrones. It works that way depending on where you live, depending on the collection your library has, and depending on how much they're spending on their collection. Like any library, you can put items on hold. There can be a certain number of titles available. There may be 5 titles available for 1 copy of a book, whereas there could be only 1 copy available. It depends on the title, and it depends on how much your library is willing to spend. Then when you look at eBooks, for instance, a neat thing is they fully support both Kindle, iPad, and Android devices. If you're interested in staying in the Kindle system, when you check out a library book under Kindle, it actually takes you to Amazon.com and lets you download it to your Kindle account. So you have the book for a certain amount of days that you have to check out for. You can always check it out again to get the title again. I believe your save points are recorded. Similar system available for PC, Android. You can even use the Kindle app on iPad and still use the Kindle checkout available on Overdrive. And then one quick note again on audiobooks. Audiobooks tend to be downloaded in an MP3 format, so they can be transferred to mobile devices like your iPod or maybe your phone. You can listen to them. Technically, you're supposed to delete them at the end of the checkout period, but there's no system that's forcing you to do so unless you're downloading it directly through the Overdrive app. Most people, like me, download it onto my PC and then transfer the MP3 files directly onto my devices. So since there's no system to force you to delete it, you can always just wait until you're done if you're not done by the checkout period, and just delete it when you're done. And then finally, the last service I want to talk about today is Zinio. Zinio is an e-magazine distributor that supports a lot of popular magazines like Esquire, Science, Wired, all these major titles that maybe you like to read. You can see if your library gives you a subscription to certain magazines for free. Zinio is also a paid service, so if there are magazines that you want, you can also pay per title and get the titles you want to read. But if your library is already paying for them, technically you can get a subscription for free, which is a nice plus. You can read them on your iOS devices, Android devices, Windows 8, a desktop reader. There's a list of apps right there on the bottom. And here is just a quick example of what it looks like when you go and search for a certain magazine on your library's database to see if it's available. Once again, not all the libraries support all of these services. You're going to have to go to the library directly on the website to see if they support it, or go into the library, talk to a librarian, ask them if they know. You can often go to these websites to see if your library is supported, but not all of them are really clear on that aspect. Thank you very much for taking time to watch. If you've got some time, I would suggest you take a look at some of the videos right here. Of course, there's this week's Deals of the Week. Next week's Deals of the Week will be up on Monday. Thank you very much for supporting me so far. If you've got any comments, feel free to share them here or on Reddit or on the Rooster Teeth site. Thanks again for watching. Have a fantastic day.